Hello students, today we are going to start Unit 5 of Macroeconomics, that is Balance of Payments. There are two chapters in this unit and the first chapter of this unit is Foreign Exchange Rates. Foreign exchange is actually the currency of all other countries except the domestic currency. That is, like if we take in case of India, India's currency is rupees and the currency of USA, that is dollar, Kuwait, that is dinar, England, that is pounds, all these are foreign exchange. So today we will talk about the foreign exchange rate, means whenever international transactions are made, all countries accept the payment in their own currencies because that is the only currency, the domestic currency, which is applicable and acceptable in the country. So, the conversion of currency at a particular rate is required to fulfill the payment objectives. This is the reason it is important to understand the foreign exchange rates. Foreign exchange rate means the rate at which one currency, that is currency of one country, is exchanged for the other, means the currency of other country. Suppose I have taken an example here. If $1 is equal to rupees 74 and this means that rupee 1 is equal to 1 by $74, that is value of 1 rupee in terms of dollar is $0.0135, that is 1 divided by 74. So currency can depreciate and currency can appreciate because it is a fluctuation which keeps on going on in the world's economy. So let us see what is the meaning of depreciation of currency and appreciation of currency and how does it affect the export and imports. Currency depreciation means decrease in value of domestic currency in terms of foreign currency. Depreciation of domestic currency means fall in price of domestic currency in terms of foreign currency. It implies that with the same amount of dollars, more goods can be purchased. This is the reason exports to USA will increase as they will become relatively cheaper. If we continue with the same example, if $1 was earlier 74 rupees, now from 74 it is now increased to 78. It means that in context of domestic currency, we will say this is currency depreciation because now $1 will be exchanged for 78 rupees. When we will find the value in terms of dollar, then we will have to divide 1 by 78, which will depreciate our domestic currency. Other thing is currency appreciation. Currency appreciation means increase in value of domestic currency in terms of foreign currency. It means that rise in price of domestic currency. Now 1 rupee can be exchanged for more dollars, that is with same amount of money. More goods can be purchased from USA if we are talking in context of dollars. So if $1 is equal to 70. Earlier the rate was 74. It shows the appreciation because if 1 will be divided by 70, the value of our currency in context to dollar has been increased. So imports to USA will rise as American goods will become relatively cheaper. Next concept is types of foreign exchange rate system. There are 3 types of foreign exchange rate system. First is fixed exchange rate system. Under fixed exchange rate system, the rate of exchange of currency is fixed by the government. Exchange rate is fixed by the government so that there should be stability in foreign trade and capital movement. Means because of the demand and supply forces, whatever fluctuation can be made in foreign exchange market, that is not allowed, and government always intervene to keep the exchange rate system fixed. This is possible by purchasing and selling of foreign currency reserves which are maintained by the government for this purpose only. When the exchange rates becomes stronger, that time government sell it in the market to control that exchange rate and the foreign currency exchange rate, and when such exchange rates become weaker, the foreign currency reserves are purchased so that the value of the currency can be maintained. So government buys foreign currency when exchange rate becomes weaker and sells when it becomes stronger. Reserves of foreign currencies are maintained. Value of currency is fixed by government in terms of external standards. External standard means say gold, bullions, silver. In context of these standards, that is the external standard, the amount, the rate is fixed. When the currency of one country is always valued in currency of another country, it is called as the parity value, and when value of foreign currency is tied in context of other currency, this is called as pegging. In earlier times, exchange rate of all major countries were fixed according to gold standard and Bretton Woods standard. Gold standard means the external value of all currencies were maintained by fixing their prices in terms of gold. Central bank of each country was ready to buy and sell unlimited quantity of gold at a fixed price in terms of its own currency. For example, if pound 1 is equal to 5 grams of gold and dollar 1 is equal to 2 grams of gold, then exchange rate will be pound 1 is equal to dollar 2.5. But after that, the Bretton Woods standard was fixed, gold was replaced by US dollar, and US dollar was considered as the core of the system. Under the system, all currencies were pegged or related to US dollar at a fixed exchange rate. This system gave birth to International Monetary Fund, which is called as IMF, as a central institution in the international monetary system. In this context, we should also discuss the devaluation and revaluation of currency. Devaluation refers to reduction in the value of domestic currency by the government. Devaluation is said to occur when exchange rate is increased by the government under fixed exchange rate system. However, revaluation refers to increase in value of domestic currency by the government. Second type of exchange rate system is flexible exchange rate system. Flexible exchange rate system is determined, the exchange rate is determined by application of demand and supply forces in the foreign exchange market. Foreign exchange market consists of thousands of banks, financial institutions, firms, and as per the demand and supply forces, the rate is fixed. The value of currency is allowed to fluctuate freely as per demand and supply forces, and there is no official government intervention. It is allowed to float in the market. This is the reason this system is also called as floating exchange rate system. The rate is determined by the market, where many banks, financial institutions, and firms are in contact with each other. Third kind of system is managed floating rate system. Managed floating rate system is a hybrid system, which we can say is a mix of fixed exchange rate system as well as flexible exchange rate system. In this, first of all, the currencies are allowed to float in the market as per the demand and supply forces. But when Central Bank of the country observes that below or above the desired level, the value of currency is going, that time the restrictions are put and intervention of central bank is there. With the intervention, the central bank applies the same system, that is the currencies of other countries, foreign currencies, are actually bought or sold in the market to control the exchange rate. So, exchange rate is determined by market forces, but central bank intervenes to restrict the fluctuations. Exchange rate is kept close to the desired target value. Reserves are maintained by central bank to control these kind of fluctuations, but to an extent, that is desired level, it is allowed to float, and it is also called as dirty floating. Let us take an example of managed floating rate system. Suppose India has a managed floating rate system and Indian Central Bank, that is RBI, want to keep value of rupee close to rupees 60 per US dollar. Further, assume that RBI is ready to tolerate small fluctuations in exchange rate, say from 59.75 to 60.25. Here you can notice that there is fluctuation of 0.50 which is allowed. Now, if due to excess demand for rupees, the value of rupee fall below the level of $59.75, then RBI will start increasing the supply of rupees by selling rupees for dollars and acquiring holdings of dollars. Similarly, if due to excess supply of rupees, the value of rupee rises above the level of $60.25, then RBI will increase the demand for rupees by exchanging dollars for rupees and running down its holdings of dollars. Next topic is demand for foreign exchange. The demand for foreign exchange comes from those people who need it to make payment in foreign currency. It is demanded by domestic residents for the following reasons. First is import of goods and services. Foreign exchange is demanded to make the payment for import of goods and services. Second is tourism. Foreign exchange is needed to meet expenditure incurred in foreign tours. Next is unilateral transfers sent abroad. Foreign exchange is required for making unilateral transfers. Unilateral transfers means sending gifts to other countries. Fourth is purchase of assets in foreign countries. It is demanded to make payment for purchase of assets like land, shares, bonds, etc. in the foreign countries. Fifth is speculation. Demand for foreign exchange arises when people want to make gains from appreciation of currency. So for these reasons, the demand for foreign exchange is there. But reasons for rise in demand for foreign currency are: the demand for foreign currency rises when price of foreign currency falls, imports from the foreign country become cheaper, so imports increase and hence the demand for foreign currency rises. For example, if price of $1 falls from 74 to 70, then imports from USA will increase. As American goods will become relatively cheaper, it will raise the demand for US dollars. Second, there is rise in demand when foreign currency becomes cheaper in terms of domestic currency. It promotes tourism to that country. As a result, demand for foreign currency rises. There is rise in demand when price of foreign currency falls. Its demand rises and as more people want to make gains from speculative activities. Next is supply of foreign exchange. The supply, that is inflow of foreign exchange, comes from those people who receive it due to following reasons. You will see that these are just inverse to that of demand of foreign exchange. First is export of goods and services. Supply of foreign exchange comes through exports of goods and services. Second is foreign investment. The amount which foreigners invest in the home country increases the supply of foreign exchange. Third is remittances, that is unilateral transfers from abroad. Supply of foreign exchange increases in the form of gifts and other remittances from abroad. And fourth is speculation. Supply of foreign exchange comes from those who want to speculate on the value of foreign exchange. Now let us discuss the reasons for rise in supply of foreign currency. First is when price of foreign currency rises, domestic goods become relatively cheaper, which induces the foreign countries to increase their imports from the domestic country. As a result, supply of foreign currency rises. For example, if price of $1 rises from rupees 70 to rupees 74, then exports of USA will increase as Indian goods will become relatively cheaper. It will raise the supply of US dollars. When price of foreign currency rises, supply of foreign currency rises as people want to make gains from the speculative activities. Next topic is determination of exchange rate. When forces of demand and supply applies, as it applies to other commodities, same way it applies to the foreign exchange rate also. Let us see through the figure how it is done. See, in this figure on x-axis we have taken demand and supply of foreign exchange, and on y-axis we have taken rate of foreign exchange. The demand and supply curves are shown, and where both of them intersect is called as the point of equilibrium, that is the equilibrium level. If exchange rate, that is OR, it rises to OR2, demand will fall to OQ. See, here it is intersecting. So demand will fall to OQ and supply will rise to OQ1. This is the situation of excess supply. So exchange rate will fall till it reaches the equilibrium level. In case of excess demand, if exchange rate falls from OR to OR1, demand rises to OQ1. See, this is corresponding to this, and supply falls to OQ2 because supply curve and exchange rates are intersecting at this point, which is coming to OQ2. This is the situation of excess demand, and it will push up the exchange rate till it reaches OR, that is the equilibrium point. Now let us discuss the changes and implications of exchange rates. First, let us see if there is change in demand, because we are applying two forces, demand and supply. So if demand will change, then what will happen and what will be its effects on the domestic currency, and if the supply changes, then what will be its effects? Let us discuss the demand side first. Change in demand. Demand can be changed in two ways. Either it can increase or it can decrease. We have taken the same diagram, and here I have kept the supply curve constant because we are studying the increase and decrease in demand. If the demand increases, the demand curve will shift towards right. So this was the original demand curve, and this is the equilibrium point. When the demand increases from D to D1, it shows that the per unit price of US dollar increases. See, the foreign exchange rate is also increasing. It means that there is situation of excess demand at this particular point, from this to this. There is increase in this particular demand, and it means that the per unit price of US dollar has been increased, that is domestic currency depreciated. In other case, when the exchange rate, we are decreasing the demand, that is from D to D2, D curve D to D2. It means that the exchange rate has been fallen. There is per unit price of US dollar is now reduced. There is reduction in this price. This is the reason the domestic currency is appreciated. Let us see the implications of change in supply. Here in this figure, I have changed the supply only and demand is kept constant, because we are reading how the supply will affect, the change in supply will affect the exchange rate. See, equilibrium point E is the actual equilibrium point where supply and demand curves are intersecting each other. When the supply will be increased, increase in supply means supply curve will shift towards the right. So this is the increased supply curve, that is S1. Here on S1, it is intersecting demand curve at this new point, which we can say E1, and the exchange rate is falling down to R1 here, because the per unit price of US dollar is decreased, and this shows that the domestic currency is appreciated. Increase in supply will appreciate the domestic currency. Is decrease in supply. When there will be decrease in supply from original equilibrium point, we will be able to notice that there is deficit in the supply. When supply was increasing, it was showing excess supply from the original curve. Now, when we are talking about decrease in supply, it is showing deficit supply from the original curve, and the per unit price of US dollar is increased, that is domestic currency is depreciated by this particular value. So in this way, change in demand and change in supply can affect the imports and exports of the country. Next topic is foreign exchange market. Foreign exchange market, as I said earlier, is the market in which foreign currencies are bought and sold. The buyers and sellers include individual firms, foreign exchange brokers, commercial banks, and the central bank. Like any other market, foreign exchange market is a system, not a place. The transactions in this market are not confined to only one or few foreign currencies. In fact, there are large number of foreign currencies which are traded, converted, and exchanged in the foreign exchange market. Functions of foreign exchange market. Foreign exchange market performs the following three functions. First is transfer function. It transfers purchasing power between the countries involved in the transaction. This function is performed through credit instruments like bills of foreign exchange, bank drafts, and telephonic transfers. Second is credit function. It gives credit for foreign trade bills of exchange with maturity period of 3 months are generally used for international payments. Credit is required for this period in order to enable the importer to take possession of goods, sell them, and obtain money to pay off the bill. Third is hedging function. When exporters and importers enter into an agreement to sell and buy goods on some future date at the current prices and exchange rates, it is called as hedging. The purpose of hedging is to avoid losses that might be caused due to foreign rate variations in the future. There are two kinds of foreign exchange markets. One is spot market and other is forward market. Spot market refers to the market in which receipts and payments are made immediately. Immediately means There is a time of 2 business days which is permitted to settle the transactions. Spot market is a day of daily nature and deals only in spot transactions of foreign exchange. That is, future transactions are not included here. The rate of exchange which prevails in the spot market is termed as spot exchange rate or the current exchange rate. We are required to understand here that a margin of 2 days is allowed as it takes 2 days for payments made through checks to be cleared. So spot transactions should not be confused with the on the spot payments because 2 days margin is allowed for the payments. Second is forward market. Forward market refers to the market in which sale and purchase of foreign currency is settled on a specified future date at a rate agreed upon today. The exchange rate quoted in foreign transactions is known as foreign exchange rate. Generally, most of the international transactions are signed on one date and completed on a later date. Forward exchange rate becomes useful for both the parties involved in the transactions. Forward contract is made for 2 reasons. First is to minimize the risk of loss due to adverse changes in foreign exchange rate and to make profit through speculation. With this, we conclude this chapter. Thank you.